of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You remain standing. Dennis can open us in prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the opportunity to stand in your presence. We look for your guidance and your wisdom as we make decisions that impact thousands. We ask for the protection of those far and near that are protecting our freedoms. And again, we ask for your guidance and praise you. Thank you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from August 6th?
Motion to approve the minutes from August 6th.
We have a second by John Purdy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative. Motion to approve and ratify the fund report and docket for tonight.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by John Purdy.
I will second.
Second by Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative. Okay, at this time, we are going to have the public hearing on the budget. I think it's been published in the paper.
I know that one works.
And I don't know, Angela, are there any copies?
Just the copies that you guys
Just that we have, okay.
noted via the forms of which services are
Okay. Don't know if anybody has had a chance to see it or not as far as the public, but if you do have a question or comment, this would be your time to ask as far as the budget. Anyone? Okay, at this point we will close the public hearing. Old business. The impact fees, and David Kern was going to talk about that, and right before the meeting, they had to run, so I didn't believe.
Well, yeah, I don't know whether Dave was going to talk about it or just wanted it to be talked about, but I think that this is all born out of a conversation that David and maybe Dwayne participated in with Adam Stone after the last meeting he was here, right?
Yeah.
And I think that Dave is under the impression that we can impose impact fees and collect money for public safety, and we can't. Impact fees are limited to infrastructure. You can charge impact fees for sewer availability or sewer improvements, for water improvements, or for park-related improvements. You couldn't buy a piece of fire apparatus or something like that with it, or equipment or gear or anything like that. You could perhaps use impact fee funds for a fire station or something like that, but it would have to be infrastructure as that term is defined in the statute. We can impose impact fees on the new development because that opportunity has passed. We could on future development, and we can keep that in mind if we want to. But what the statute tells us is, and what most jurisdictions do in lieu of impact fees, because it's a bit unwieldy to charge impact fees, you have to have an impact fee study done, you have to have a board appointed, you have to provide public notices and an opportunity to appeal. There's a waiting period before they can be imposed, kind of a cooling off to give the developers or people who will be subject to them an opportunity to submit an appeal if they want. Oftentimes the process is expensive because of the study that needs to be done. In lieu of that, what most places do is negotiate with developers to have them provide either monetary contributions toward additional improvements that may be related to new development, or to include in their development parks, trails, road improvements, which is exactly what we did with Gradison. So there was some conversation before we got very far into that process, I remember with Dwayne, about impact fees. And had we gotten out ahead of it and decided that's what we wanted to do, we would have, but most places don't. And Adam Stone's kind of confirmed that for me today, that it's much easier, you can be more creative, you can actually collect money for things that you otherwise couldn't under the statute, by simply working out with the developer conditions of approval, which are those commitments that we had at the back of our ordinance, where we have Gradison setting aside ground for park, recreational trails, several $100,000 toward road improvements, them constructing road improvements themselves. And so we have captured value, we have captured improvements for the town through the negotiated process that is included in and referenced in the impact fee statute, instead of imposing fees through a legislative process. And I think Adam would say that's the best way to do it going forward as well. But we're not at a point right now where there's anything to be done. And Dave, I know you had to leave before this, but we're talking about the impact fees. And what I'm explaining to the council is, there aren't impact fees that we can use for public safety. That's not something that money can be spent on. It's limited to just infrastructure. And the statute contemplates that in lieu of impact fees done through an ordinance and being imposed, you can negotiate contributions from developers in the form of parks, the recreation facilities, road improvements, just money, just flat money, which Gradison agreed to do across the board. We really don't have any opportunity to impose impact fees against any other property right now. And certainly can't collect money that could be used for anything other than infrastructure. And I don't know whether that answers some of the questions you have or not, but I know this was something you wanted to have discussed.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I've heard both ways on it. That originally that's what it was for, was infrastructure. That I heard years ago it was okay to include public safety as well. But I haven't gotten any concrete.
Yeah, well, the current form of the statute limits it to three things. Well, first limits it to a definition of infrastructure, and it relates that to sewer improvements, water improvements, and park. And it's not any broader than that. And Adam did say there has been discussion about impact fees being, there being some vehicle to charge impact fees for public safety expense. There are additional ways to levy additional taxes that we could collect that could be used for additional public safety expenses. I don't know, based on discussions recently, I don't know if the council has any appetite to impose additional taxes on the residents and property owners in New Whiteland. On the sewer side, we have imposed an impact fee. I mean, the sewer availability fee that we just did increase is an impact fee under the statute. And I don't think that at the time we were doing that, we thought of it in terms of being an impact fee, but that's what it is. And we've gone ahead and done that in order to collect some additional revenue as each connection is made in the new development. That was done through a rate process, but kind of what we had available outside the scope of what we negotiated and had Gradison agree to, which related to roads and recreational facilities, we've gone ahead and put it in place and gotten that done. So I don't think there's anything more for us to do. If we see another development coming our way and you want to revisit this, we can. My prediction is if that happens, you'll likely opt to do this like we have done it in the past, where you do this dance with a developer over however long it takes to get to distill things down to a point where they agree to do things as a condition of approval that they otherwise wouldn't agree to if they were going to be charged impact fees. And we can be more creative and collect money to be applied toward things that are not within the scope of infrastructure, as that term's defined in the impact fee statute anyway. But I think that's where we are for now. Yep, that answered questions and.
Yeah, and my objective is I'm just looking for options.
Right.
So just exploring options.
Yeah. It's not the case that at any point along the way we think we need to collect more money for something and we can decide to impose an impact fee in the generic sense because something may be having an impact. And collect from that developer the money we think we need to respond to the need that will result from the development being built. Unless that is limited to just infrastructure. hard capital improvements that are infrastructure related. So, that's what I have to offer.
Dave, were you just looking to explore it, or is there something specific you have in mind?
No, I know, over the next, the cost of everything that we have keeps going up. And so I'm just looking ahead, trying to find options for us to try to keep up with.
That revenue, yeah, yeah, okay.
So.
Other council members have questions? Okay, thank you. Angela, you have any other old business? Lee?
No, we've got that utility easement down in legislative, so.
Chad? No. John?
No.
Vince? John?
Nope. I did. So give you an update on the road project, which might be a little bit of a conversation. To kind of back up, the notice to proceed was to E&B paving was issued on the 18th of July. Our contract states that they're supposed to start work within 7 days. They did not. They did not return the signed notice to proceed back to me until the 11th of August, which is also the same day that they did start work. So that's where we are in the date. So remember those. Our contract is for 45 days. If we follow the original notice to proceed deadline, the 1st of September was 45 days. So the contract has already expired if we choose to follow that. If we choose to follow the 11th, when they submitted it back to me, that would put the deadline right at September 25th. The communication with EMB has been terrible. It started off with not even being able to get road closed signage up until 1 or 2 days prior to. Then it came down to when they did start work, there were no barrels and stuff to start their construction project. So they failed on all fronts. Communication, again, I can't stress enough how bad the communication has been. So now that you know the deadline dates and the 45 days contract, one of the things that I've been pestering them about since day one was a construction schedule so that I could advise you of when they plan on completing. I finally got one today. This was after a conversation that was pleasurable but stern from myself, and then in talks with Lee, we ended up sending an email over to them stressing the deadline, things like that. So the construction schedule right now to finish all of everything that they had in their contract, they are now planning on November 2nd. This in my mind is way not acceptable whatsoever. Talked with Lee this evening, so that I don't step on his toes and explain the process moving forward, I will let him explain what he's saying.
Yeah, November 2nd is, I think, too long for the town to wait to get this done. We have a provision in our contract that if it's not completed on time, they're subject to a $500 a day liquidated damage clause. And we have a performance bond. And so there are some remedies. And in the email I sent to them yesterday, what it said was, under one calculation, the contract term started to run on September 18th. July 18th. And it's up. And another view would be that it started to run on the date that you, E&B, signed the notice to proceed and returned it to us, which was August 12th or August 11th, which means, as Dwayne just said, it would be September 25th or something when it would run. In any case, our concern is nothing's happening. You're not communicating. We're concerned it's not going to be done even by that later date of September 25th. Be aware that you are subject to this liquidated damage provision. It was a kind of a grab him by the collar and shake him around a little bit. Dwayne had that conversation, then he got this schedule. My inclination is to send an email to them or a letter to them yesterday that says your proposed contract schedule is unacceptable. That we are willing to agree to the most lenient of the two dates, which is September 25th to complete the project. If it's not completed by that date, we will impose a $500 daily liquidated damage provision and make a claim against your performance bond. And do nothing more, but send that communication and let them respond to it. On the one hand, I don't know that them getting it done by September 25th really puts the town in too much of a bind. I think that the notice to proceed, the language in the contract about the notice to proceed tells us that they have 45 days from the date they receive it. We dated it and sent it, but I think by email. So I doubt there would be any dispute that they received it on that date, but they didn't acknowledge it. And we include in there a signature for them to sign acknowledging it. And the town didn't really press them to return it. I think the expectation was they've got it, they're mobilizing, and they'll be here, and we're all okay. I think what has us really alarmed is we now are learning that during that period of time, they really haven't gotten around to doing much and haven't done much to coordinate it. And now they're telling us, well, it's going to be 2 more months before we're going to have this done. And I think we need to say no. And if they then respond by saying, okay, well, we can move that November 2nd date up to an earlier date, maybe they get that date to a date that is acceptable to Dwayne. And I guess one thing I would ask you to consider doing tonight is authorizing him or giving to Dwayne some discretion to agree on an extension of the contract term to a date that is acceptable to him, so that if they propose some other time frame that is acceptable to him, we can bind the town to that and fix that as the new deadline, holding over them the threat that if that deadline is not met, claim against the performance bond and liquidated damages. If you would prefer to say, no, let's just see how they respond, report back to us, and we'll decide either in a special meeting or in October whether that's acceptable or not, that would be fine. But I do think there might be some practical value in Dwayne being able to sort of negotiate an extension so that everybody knows what the new expectations are. We don't have it. We don't want to inflict harm on them. We don't want to start exercising remedies if there isn't really a need to do that. I don't want it to be just symbolic. But we're up against it here, and the reason you require performance bonds and you impose liquidated damages is to hold people to a schedule. And if they were saying, well, we've gotten really busy and we're running behind a little bit and we're going to bring it in 3 weeks late or something, okay, what they're telling us is we're so upside down, we can't even turn our attention back to you for 6 weeks or however long they think that'll be before they get back around to even starting back to do the work. And November 2nd it's too big an ask, I think. Both of us think, for the town to just roll over and accept. They need to choke that down considerably, I think. So that's what I would propose doing. That email would go in the morning. It would I think call them to respond with some other proposal, or they don't want to have a claim made against their bond. They don't want that, and they don't want to be staring down a $500 a day liquidated damage clause. I just can't help but think that somebody at some level at E&P is going to take an interest in this and try to figure out some way to make New Whiteland a bit happier than what New Whiteland is right now. But I think in order to find that out, we have to say no to this proposal and renew the threat. I don't know how to explain it. Our guess is that they have gotten themselves overloaded with work And I think that this project manager has said to Dwayne, I've just messed up. He said, it's not poor communication, I've just blown this whole thing, which is sort of refreshing, we said, because he's not trying to say his little brother ate his homework or something. I mean, he's just saying, I just blew it. But, okay, fine. But you gotta do something better than what you're offering.
Well, the problem I see with it is it's not just us, and it's not just here, and it's not just them. You go to almost any paving project around, and you see exactly what we have on Sawmill.
Yeah.
You see it torn out and not a soul working on it. And until somebody does something, they're gonna continue to take on these big projects, knowing they're gonna get the money, okay? So if you want an opinion, I'm okay with the September 25th. And if we want to give Dwayne discretion, October 1st, the very outside.
Okay.
Beyond that, and again, it's just my opinion, beyond that, it's $500 a day. And I wouldn't even mention October 1st unless, if they go back to the November 2nd, no.
Yeah, they need to respond and come back with a better construction schedule than what they've submitted. I mean,
This-
good grief, I mean, this is the first road project that we have taken on where we have closed a lane. So the big issue and from my standpoint is, we got all these residents just on Sawmill that reside there. But we also have all the residents in Breakaday that this road construction is affecting. We've got the school right there that it's affecting. Emergency response, being able to get through. They cannot go to November 2nd.
Well, and did we not just find out today that the mail will not, because they won't let the mail carriers out of their vehicles?
Yep.
So the people that live there are having to go to the post office to get their mail.
Yep.
That's not right.
Yep.
So, I mean, the key is to make our wheel squeak louder than some of the other customers they're working for, and that's what we'll try to do.
I mean, that's just my opinion. If you guys want to do a different plan, that's fine. But I think we need to get their attention somehow, and November 2nd is not getting their attention. So,
And I would agree with the October 1st, that gives them almost a week past contractual obligation. And if they're gonna be this lackadaisical about the contract the way it is, if we give them any leeway, they're gonna run with it.
and they'll be back again looking for
Yep.
another extension.
Yeah, that's what I fear, that
Yep.
November 2nd won't be a meaningful date either.
Yeah.
So I just say we stick to September 25th. That's what they said, should be done. And if they can't do it, then that's why we have a bond.
Now, in this conversation and with your explanation, have we already made them aware of the $500
Yeah.
and the performance bond?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've already taken that step.
We have, and they know it anyway. I think that this is, to John's point, this is how these projects are going these days, and I think that it really is a matter of bringing greater pressure to bear than whoever else they're working, whoever's roads they're working on instead of ours. And by the same token, that it's best for the town to get the project done. It's best for the town to get the project done without being embroiled in litigation. It's best to get the project done and stay on good terms with these folks because we want them to do a good job. And so we want to be somewhat lenient, and we want to figure out a way to work with them and suffer some delay, try to be understanding to a point.
What was the original date that you had mentioned? Okay, because it seems like the 22nd was, the 25th was like a second date.
It kind of is. So the original notice to proceed was issued, that I sent to them, was issued on July 11th. Technically, from that point is when the 45-day clock should have started. But we're talking about kind of being a little bit lenient and go with the date that they returned it back to us, which was August 11th.
That's a month.
So they've already extended more than a month right there.
They already have.
3
So-
weeks or something, right?
I think, John, you had
Well, I was just gonna ask, are you making a motion that it's September 25th with discretion to go to October 1st? Because if you are, I'll second it.
okay. I think we need to go that
Okay,
route.
I agree.
Okay,
Good.
So, motion and a second. Other questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
to clarify, that motion was to go with the September 25th date.
September 25th, but we are giving Dwayne the discretion, if that is absolutely not doable, October 1st is the outside. But we don't even want to go that route. Okay, oh, Dwayne, you have anything else, Dwayne? David? Old business? Joe? Okay, before we move on, since we have the fire department and police department here. About 2 weeks ago, we had an incident, and this is kind of personal for us because the lady that passed away, my wife grew up with her daughter. And Katie was 93 years old, lived over on Parkview, lived by herself, but my wife would go over there once a week or so and just help her clean up and just chat with her. And she passed away, sitting in her office chair looking out the window. She sat there with her arms folded and passed away. And her daughter was over there, and some other friends of theirs, and they could not stop commenting of how well they were treated by our firefighters and Tyler Smith, Officer Smith. They were just so kind and compassionate that they just couldn't believe that people could respond that way to them. And I guarantee you, if you guys had done something wrong, we'd let you know. And I'm a firm believer that if your folks do something right, especially to that extent that people that don't even live around here make comments, then you ought to know. And I'm not sure which one of your I know Dave Wampler was there because, again, David is very close friends with Katie as well. So please pass on to your folks that what they did was very much appreciated and very much noticed. Thank you. Okay. New business. We have Uplift here to talk about the Proctor Park Community Day. Wendy.
So our community day is September 13th. Just a refresher, it's to invite the community to celebrate the completion of the monuments. Since it was done in the middle of the winter and we couldn't really have a big celebration and invite the community. So planning is well underway. We had agreed to try to do a budget of $5,000, $2,500 from Festival Country, $2,500 coming from the extra funds that we gather for the Proctor Park project. And right now we sit at $48.85, give or take. Obviously, we've got there's a couple moving targets there. You'll notice that one of the most expensive line items is portalettes. I thought was great. But we are planning to. Whit's End is providing food at $5 a head, so they're planning for 300 people, so that number could flex a little bit. He said he's going to plan for that. He is going to be going back and forth to the restaurant to make sure that they don't waste food, and we'll pay for the number of heads that attend and get food. So everybody's going to they're going to walk up to register, they're going to get their hand stamped to make sure nobody is a repeat visitor for the free food, get a ticket, and they're going to get a hot dog or a burger from Whit's End. We have TJ Hooch, mobile DJs coming. They're going to play. He's going to play for 3 hours. We have a bounce house, balloon entertainment, balloon animals, and glitter tattoos. We have a snow cone company who tentatively is coming. So basically, we've done a bunch of boosted Facebook posts. We've got one running over Johnson County, inviting people, but then we have one, specifically targeting people who are looking for festivals or people who are interested in law enforcement items. We're boosting the Facebook post over the entire city. We've actually had 70,000 views, so I don't think all of them will come to the park, I hope, but we're getting a lot of traction, which we had to expand the reach. So that is what we're doing. You'll see cupcakes on there. The Sheriff's Ride is supposed to be visiting. They may be coming earlier in the day. The Sheriff's Ride contributed $15,000 to the project, and the ride last year, so this year they're bringing all the bikes. I'm still coordinating with Dwayne Burgess as to how that exactly is gonna look and how they're gonna handle closing the road, closing one lane and letting bikes park out there. I think they're gonna come before the event starts so that they can come and be gone before the general public arrives. We're parking at Tracy Plaza and Grace. The school has generously allowed us to use school buses and just cover the cost of the driver's pay. So we're gonna be shuttling from both those locations. We're gonna have the park entrance blocked off unless someone pulls up with a handicap placard, and all the Proctor Park parking up front will be reserved for handicap visitors if they should need it. Everybody else, we're gonna shuttle back and forth. So that's kind of the 30,000 foot overview. I don't know, I thought you might have questions about anything. The bounce house, we have picked up insurance and that covers Uplift and the park, or the town, on rider, on their insurance. Obviously our insurance will cover the other things that are going on, and then the vendors, we've all had signed vendor agreements with insurance, so.
Today, I appreciate your email talking about the 2 satellite locations.
Yeah.
I sent that on to transportation,
Right.
just to make them aware that it's gonna be Tracy Plaza there. I don't know if people are gonna be attempting to get into the break-a-day lot.
We are going to station, or we're hoping that we can station people, someone at the break-a-day lot to direct them on down, because we had that happen with the actual ribbon cutting where people parked there and we weren't shuttling from there. They figured it out pretty quickly. It felt like it was 12 degrees out, so the buses went by, but we're gonna try to have somebody stationed there to keep people from pulling in, because if they park there, they're gonna have to walk down. And we're gonna have somebody stationed. The reason we chose to do west and east is because what we didn't want is people pulling up to the park and then having to do a U-turn in the front of the parking lot when we've got people walking around. So the idea is, from whichever direction they pull up, they can continue straight to one of the 2 parking areas. But yeah, we'll try to station somebody down there to just say, not here. If you're
Okay.
parked. We'll
I
have
just
signs
made
and arrows.
transportation aware so they can route it.
Yeah, so that's kind of the general overview. The cupcakes that are actually on this are for the cyclists, so the motorcyclists, when they arrive, we'll have something for them that we've red, white, and blue cupcakes coming from them. So the only other 2 moving targets that we might have a little overage on are off-duty police officers. Joe and I are going to talk about that, whether we need to actually have some separate security from just the guys who are on duty, just to make sure, I don't anticipate issues, but it's always good to have a police presence. And then we are actually working with the florist to try to place a wreath in front of the monument, because obviously we're doing this in connection with 9/11 2 days before. And I'm looking to see if we can find somebody who might be able to present the colors and play taps. So if we can do that, we will at the beginning of the event. So if you guys if you might have to lead on that, that would be appreciated. I know the police color runners are probably gonna, try to find somebody who can do it, so. So
Other
that's the
questions?
project, we're excited about it, we think we'll have a good turnout. Yard card is out now, and it'll come down. Dwayne, the sign for the sponsors, is that going back up?
I can put it back.
Okay,
yes.
great, we just want it up for the event.
Okay.
So.
Other questions?
No, I just want to say thank you. You've put in a tremendous amount of work on this, and I appreciate the work you've done. This looks like it's going to be a terrific event, and I'm looking forward to being there. So thank you.
You're welcome, we had a discussion today about making sure it was on his calendar. You're welcome.
And it is.
We're
It is.
excited.
I verified that it is.
We're
But-
excited about trying to get people, we did the ribbon cutting, and we had a whole lot of law enforcement and people who supported the project, but those monuments are there for the general public to enjoy. So we're really hoping that we'll get some people who may not have, who are coming for the hot dogs and fun, but they'll spend a few minutes at the monuments and
And understand why.
appreciate what they're there for.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate all the work you've done.
Well, since Wendy's here, I asked her to talk about something else. And if you guys will all remember, probably 6-7 months ago, we had a family come in that had a young child that was going through major problems, major surgery. And they had asked us to let them use one of the parks to do a fundraiser. Coincidentally, Wendy and Mary Beth were here that night to talk about this. Well, halfway through, all of them went back to that room and were back there for quite some time. And I want Wendy to update the council on the results of what they did, because this is unbelievable.
Well, so for those who don't know, Elijah Rebecca was a special ed teacher at Whiteland High School. Her husband died in August of 2023 of a rare blood disorder, and then her son was diagnosed with neuroblastoma 16 months later, and he's 4. So John made the introduction because they were looking for fundraising opportunities and they were going to try to do something in the park. We ended up starting Uplift Elijah, so we did an overall fundraising campaign, and then instead of doing the park event, we decided to do an indoor bingo event. There's a lot more bang for the buck in bingo. And at a park event, it's hard to raise money because you can't sell tickets to an open park event. That's hard to do, and you have to have something, a draw. So we did a bingo event at the barn at Bay Horse Inn last month. The bingo event raised $32,000.
Wow.
The general fundraising plus the bingo event raised $100,500.
Wow.
Wow.
So thank you for making the introduction, John. It just goes to show you that, it was a big thing. So yeah, we raised $100,500. And we still have it up, and we were like, man, we haven't hit 100,000, and somebody from Carmel got on the website and donated $1,000 actually last night. So that's what pushed us over the top. So community, it was pretty amazing. And he's a remarkable little boy. He had a 13-hour surgery to remove his tumor. He's facing 2 more stem cell transplants, and she's going to be off work for probably 2 years before it's over. So yeah.
Well, like John said, it's like John said, thank you for what you guys
Thank you
did.
for making it. The Uplift exists because the community gives when we make a call out. So it's just proof that people want to help if you just give them the opportunity. So.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Does anybody have any other questions about Proctor Park? Any concerns or anything that we haven't addressed?
Great. Thank you.
Minutes, yeah, I have another-
Oh, you don't want to stay for all this? Angela, you have any other new business? Lee?
No.
Chad?
No, sir.
John?
No.
John?
No.
Of course you do.
So, if you all remember, I have been trying to purchase a piece of equipment for coming up on 2 years now. It was talked about during last year's budget. We ended up pulling it out. Then we talked about using ARPA funds, and then we chose that we felt that our money would be better spent and better suited for the project on Tracy Road and the current road project. That piece of equipment is a salt brine maker and sprayer, plus storage tanks. I do apologize, I would have had it on the agenda, however, I just got the quotes back this morning for it. This is a product, it is sold here in Indiana. There is one supplier in the state of Indiana, and I've got a sole source letter for it, which is partly why I didn't get 3 quotes from other ones, because it would have to be out of state. It is a Camion, that is the manufacturer of it, brine maker, sprayer, and tanks. The total cost for the 3 quotes that I have here is $82,000. I'm asking for approval to make that purchase. I do have funds in where's my sheet of paper here? The Economic Development Fund and or Human Capital Development. There is $100,000 each in those, and I am just asking your approval to purchase this. If you guys approve it, you are about 6 to 8 weeks out on receiving the product. One of the pieces they do have in stock, and it's currently, they're currently doing a display up in near Purdue and all that type of stuff. We did go view the system. It's a pretty neat system. We chose this one because of the stainless steel and the poly sides on it. I'll just briefly tell you too, there is a substantial cost savings over a period of years. You're right now roughly what we spend per treatment on salting the roads, just salting the roads, is roughly $1,032. Just, we'll say $1,100. That's if we put it down as we recommended to apply. But, you know, we have pretty good roads in the wintertime. That's a result of applying salt a little bit heavier. If you guys approve it, the cost savings on treating with brine, a pre-treatment with brine, is about $987 per treatment, which is a substantial savings. And we figured it out, I think it's roughly 83 treatments, and you've got everything paid for because of the difference. So with that, I will leave that to you to ask any questions and comments, or hopefully make a motion to approve.
Is this gonna save some wear and tear on the vehicles that we use for spreaders and?
It will save wear and tear on a spreader that we have, because the truck that we're planning on putting this on, we'll just actually put the spreader on, or the sprayer on, and take the spreader off. So that'll allow some longevity out of that spreader as well.
So you say when there's a snow event, it costs about $1,100, but this will save $900 an event?
You're saving $987. If we treated with brine, it's $44.89 a treatment. Basically is what it would be. So that difference is $987.
So it costs $45 to brine all the streets?
Mm-hmm. Because you're making it at a percentage of water and salt. You're mixing that all in. It's dissolving through, and then you're spraying it onto the road, which creates that layer on there that goes through and helps the removal process easier. And even in a light snowfall, it would save even comp time from that side of it, from coming out and treating the road.
So you'd still have to plow, and you'd probably still have to
Yeah,
spread
if it's
salt.
heavy enough, you'll still end up having to plow. It's not a beat all. There's still a process. It's just another treatment process that is cost effective, rather than going out and pre-treating with salt, where the granules of salt hit the road and potentially bounce off into the grass. Where this hits the road, once it's dried on the road, it's good to go.
Yeah, this is something we've been talking about probably for 10 years plus. I saw the system the first time up at Boone County Highway, and they went to doing all of their roads for that very reason. It was such a cost savings, and it allowed them to get out farther ahead of time. You know, with what we're doing now, you don't have the lead time. You can't get out quite as early. I mean, if you drive around Johnson County, and because that's what they're using in a lot of cases, you know, we'll see where they've done the roads the day before even. And so, you know, if we have the money in the budget, I think it makes sense to go this route. I think we'll, like Dwayne said, we'll get our money back in short order, I think.
What's the expected lifespan?
I believe 20 years is it. Now, this has been some time since I talked to them originally on it. I believe 20 years is what they told me on the lifespan. And again, it is stainless steel with polymer tanks, and you know, they are a warranty provider, they are a service provider. It's McGavick Outdoor Power up in Nipplesville, Westfield, somewhere up in there.
So you're gonna take this off a spreader truck. I suppose it's a plow truck too.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna, as a result of this, you're not gonna need more, you're not gonna need another truck, I guess.
No, that 550 flatbed is more than capable to handle this.
Other questions?
Nope.
We have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I second.
Motion by John, second by Chad. Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 5 affirmative.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Anything else?
No.
Is there a preference between using economic development or human capital development?
Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
A preference of which appropriation to use, human capital development or economic development. I think when it comes down to utilizing CCMG funds, that human cap is kind of the tail end of all of that. I think if I was to make a preference, I would like to use it out of the economic development.
We do not.
Okay. David, any new business? Joe?
Well, there is new business. We're prepared, because we don't have a computer, but I'd like to talk about the flock cameras. Because everybody familiar from my old John is, John Schlosky. In Johnson County, there's 47 flock cameras throughout the whole county. And if we were to purchase, we have to purchase 2, we can't just purchase 1. $7,000 per year. That includes anything and everything, the maintenance, construction, putting it up, everything. But what happens is it ties us in to the other 47 cameras throughout Johnson County. Those are good for people with dementia that's missing, people like the children with Amber Alerts, stolen vehicles, stolen license plates, people that are wanted, things like that that comes through our community. It's the best thing that we've got since DNA has been created and invented. And what happens is when the flock camera hits on something, it goes directly to the officer's phone. We don't have access to the ones that's out in Johnson County right now because we don't have flock cameras. If we get flock cameras, we will have that capability to get an alert on our phone before dispatching it. Which means if our officers are out and in the area, they might be able to see it, and there's no time delay of whenever dispatch would put it out. I'd like to come back next week or next month if we can and show you a brief PowerPoint of some of the advantages that we have. But a real quick story I'd like to tell you, and I'll make it real brief, is flock camera was set up, and they're all over the United States. We can tag into as many of them as we want. We had a subject over in one of our new housing additions over here, and it was in Brownstone. Nevertheless, make a long story short, he hit 2 mailboxes and hit a parked car on Tracy Road. One of the guys that works for Flock was able to pick his vehicle up in Indianapolis. Come to find out, it ended up being arrested. When he returned, he ran over one of our officers' foot that had the vehicle stopped and took off and went around on the other side, barricaded himself in the house. We got called out on it that night. We ended up pulling him out through the window. We got him and arrested him. 6 weeks later, we went back. He had beat up his wife and barricaded himself in the house again. This time we went in the house and pulled him back in the house. We found out who he was. Another incident was at IU in Bloomington. There was a student that was there. He was getting his graduate degree. He'd already got his undergraduate. And while he was there, he had a gambling problem and he had spent all his money. He was an only child. He got a burner phone, drove all the way to Oklahoma, stopped off in Oklahoma, followed on to Garden Grove, California, killed his mother so that he would get all the money, drove back to Oklahoma in his vehicle, and then drove back to Bloomington IU campus. And that's where he was arrested. And what happened was, even though he got a burner phone, the flock cameras traced his vehicle, took pictures of it and the plate, and that's how they ended up capturing the student and arresting him for murder for killing his mother. So anyway, there's been other instances like in Indianapolis where we have found people that have murdered other people by using the flock camera. That's up in Marion County. We haven't done that, but we have that capability. So I think it's a good tool. It's something that I'd like to go a little bit further next month. Dave's made a PowerPoint on it. We did our research on it and show it to you guys to see if you will consider us being able to purchase it. It's $7,000 per year. My gosh, it keeps a lot of crime out, and it'll solve a lot of crimes.
And where are you thinking about having these installed?
One of them we'd like to put in would be Tracy Road in 31. That'd be a good location. The second one, we've had that up in the air. We thought about putting it down here by Emerson. We've also thought about going west on Tracy Road also, not toward Barbersville, because you got 69 and 135 along there. We have 31, we have I-65 over here. However, the school has 4. Whiteland schools do, plus schools. So that kind of takes care of like the interstate area. But I'm telling you, the old saying is we work with yesterday's rules, we were working yesterday. So we gotta look ahead and keep the community safe.
I have a question. When you say it's $7,000 a year, but you can't purchase just one, you have to purchase 2, so is that $7,000 per
It is.
unit? So it would be.
They're $3,500 a piece,
Okay,
yes,
so the 7,000 covers 2.
correct.
It's interesting you're talking about this tonight because when I was sitting out in the parking lot, I was listening to the radio. There was an autistic child last week that was beaten up severely. And they caught the group of kids that did it due to a flock camera.
Good to know.
So it's real. So, but yeah, if you can have something available next month. One question I have is, it's $7,000 for the year. How long are we obligated?
I don't think there's any obligation at all.
Okay.
I think it's just, like, if you decided 1 year was enough, you can cancel anytime. One thing also that I'd like to bring up is John Volley here, our officer back there on the back row, the Amen Road. He has checked into, and we haven't found out, to see if there's any grants out there that would help offset some of the cost on that.
Okay.
So maybe we'll have some information the next meeting that we have.
Okay.
Where are you proposing for the funds to come from?
Where is it? Are you talking about my budget?
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about just period. If we don't have a grant, where's that money coming from?
I'm gonna have to add it into my budget to see if we can pull from the general fund or rainy day fund.
Other questions? Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see whatever information you have. I think it'd be interesting for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, legislative business, ordinance 2025-09, repealing the wheel tax.
This is the second reading on the ordinance that I presented to you and we introduced at the meeting last month. It repeals the ordinance that enacted the wheel tax for New Whiteland to make that all go away. We discussed it quite a little bit. This is just the adoption tonight. If you have discussion, fine. Otherwise, I just need a motion and a vote.
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion by John Purdy, second by Dennis. Questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5 affirmative.
Thanks.
Ordinance 2025-10.
Yeah, I remember this through the day today. You might recall a couple meetings back, I made you aware of a request by the property owner up where the subway is up here, who was asking for approval to vacate a water line easement that runs through that property and kind of messes with their plans to use the property in any expanded way, because it's a platted easement, so it's there, but there's nothing in it. And Indiana American Water submitted a letter consenting to the removal of the water line easement, that they have no need for it and don't object to it being removed from that platted lot. And so we're required under the statutory procedure to hold a public hearing. we did that back in August or July, but then discovered that the attorney representing the property owner was supposed to send notice to surrounding property owners. He did that. He was supposed to publish notice. He didn't do that. Well, I caught that before the meeting last month, at which we thought this ordinance would be adopted, and then had him publish that notice to satisfy the notice requirement, so that now it's eligible to be adopted tonight. I don't think the town cares about this, but you are the body that has the authority to vacate a platted easement, just like you could vacate a road or a public right-of-way. You can vacate an easement. That's what they're asking you to do. So I have this ordinance to present to you to affect the extinguishment, the vacation of that easement. And I have set it up to be adopted tonight, because it really is just really a bit of housekeeping to grant this request that the easement on this property be removed.
I don't have any issue, but where's the easement run on the property?
It, I don't know. I think I did know. I probably can find out.
I was gonna say, I looked at Google Maps and I'm not sure where the property line ends. They've got that detention pond back in the southeast corner.
Right.
And I was thinking, I don't know where an easement would even land.
I
Doesn't change my opinion.
I assume it's along the highway, but
I mean, yeah.
yeah. It's just curiosity. I don't think it affects the decision. It doesn't matter. I don't think we've got an interest in the easement if the water company does.
Well, and you don't have an interest in it anyway, because it's a water line easement. I mean, it's not something the town can make use of anyway.
But there's no reason for us to object.
Yeah.
Do we have a
It's just,
motion?
this is the statutory process by which an easement like this gets removed. And I ought to ask, is there anybody here tonight who received notice or has an interest in the easement on the subway property being vacated? Nobody, okay, thanks.
I'll make a motion. Oh, well, you go ahead.
I'll make a motion to abandon the easement.
Well, we just need a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-10.
Adopt the ordinance. There we go.
Please.
I'll second.
Second by John Purdy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 5 affirmative.
Thank you.
I thought I had it figured out.
Okay.
All right, that is everything on this evening's agenda. So this time, the meeting is open to the public. If you have a question or comment, we just ask for your name and address for the record. Anyone?
Okay, I do. I live here 27 South Lane, County, Sherry Reed. My family's owned the house since '69. I just took on a share last year. Golf cart ordinance. Is there anything that's gonna happen to change it to where golf carts are allowed in New Whiteland?
Maybe. But no, honestly, right now they're not. Absolutely not. Honestly, you're the first person that's come in and asked to have it, okay? I know Joe's doing some investigating with Bargersville and Franklin because they do allow them. We've had some people that are riding them and golf carts and go-karts and
Oh, I see it all
side-by-sides all over, and they're not allowed.
Right.
So it's, I won't say it's out of the question, but at least it's something we're gonna get into more probably in the winter time and have discussions about it. Is it something you're in favor of?
I am, because I have one sitting in my garage,
Okay.
because we go camping down at Johnson County Park.
Mm-hmm,
So we're licensed through park. I'm getting ready to pay the 2-year for Franklin,
mm-hmm.
so I can drive around Franklin if I want to. And I would just think it would be nice, you know, if the town I grew up in and the town I live in now
Mm-hmm.
would allow me to drive it. I mean, it's pretty legal, it's battery
Sure.
powered. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do nothing stupid on it.
We are definitely considering it. Don't wanna make you a promise that it's gonna happen, but, you know,
And I know some other people that I know that they don't live here,
Mhm.
but they'd be willing to, I know that would bring income into the city. And they live just out in Needham.
Mhm.
And they said, for events here, he has to have a golf cart to get around on, and it would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, we are considering it. It's been a topic for a couple years actually. So, yeah, we're still considering it.
And I have another thing.
Mhm.
I live on a half circle on South Line.
Okay.
The half circle gets low by the city, I'm fine with that. The sidewalk, are they gonna ever maintain that? Because it's like a ramp, and then it comes back up.
Sidewalks are, at this point, the property owners.
No, this one's on a half circle, so it's owned by the city, that's what I'm understanding.
Oh, I know what she's talking. There is a sidewalk going through the actual,
The grassy common area.
cul-de-sac, yeah, the grassy area. Thank you, you said grassy common area.
Maybe that.
I mean, I don't have a sidewalk on my yard,
Right, okay,
I understand that
I
it's
see
in my
what you're
property.
saying, yeah.
but yeah.
So you're talking about the one that's on South Lane, or just go all the way
Yes,
around
on
the?
South- On South Lane, there's a half circle where it's like right past Bullock Drive.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it on Google right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people wanna walk, I mean, I see people walk all the time, but opposed to walking on the sidewalk down the street.
I've got a couple other sidewalks to repair, so I will add that to the list,
Okay,
Thank you.
so.
cool. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Anyone else? Please don't tell me y'all are here just for the fun and excitement.
Do you think I'd come here and not talk?
Of course not.
I would be you guys would be disappointed, right? The applicant on over Sawmill Road, and you be quiet.
Wow.
You be quiet.
I was thinking the same thing.
What is being done, from my understanding, and I think part of you guys have said is a couple years. Keep in mind, I'm old, I'm female, I'm blonde, and I'm German, so I have to ask things a lot to get that total understanding. From Bel Air to basically Whiteland Road, whenever that developer does whatever, are we also gonna have a sidewalk, or is that not gonna ever be?
So there's a sidewalk on as part of the development is being put in on the west side of, Sawmill.
Okay.
And it will actually connect into, clear going up in through to the north side of the new development. And then obviously there at the bridge, the sidewalk going up through there.
Part of the reason I was kind of asking is, a few houses down, I think there's some families that's moved in who have younger kids. For a while, when I first moved in, it really wasn't, and now there's, some family down there. And I see them out trying to ride, and there's nowhere. Sawmill Road is a speed track. These guys do the best they can, but it's a racetrack, and what it actually is. And even with the construction stuff out the other end, it still is. And it's just worrisome for me, they're trying to ride on the edge of the road, but you got the big trucks, heavy trucks, and then these cars are, zoom, 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 zoom. So that's why I was kind of just wanting to understand, but that, from what I understand, Arvion's not gonna be done for another 2 years, 2 to 3 years, because I talked to one of those contractors down there in that other, where they're working now, about Arvion coming down and I said, hey, you wanna bring me some dirt that you're digging out of that hole in my yard? And he said, well, maybe when we start down there, but that's probably not gonna be for another 1 to 2 years, like, at our end. So then that tells me if what Dwayne's saying, that they're gonna put a sidewalk in, now you're looking at a couple, more years.
Yeah.
I just didn't know and really hadn't ever asked that.
Yeah, and it very well may be that long. It just depends on how fast people start buying them. Seriously. Hey, I'm happy that it's just dirt now and not, it's better.
I'm happy that, you guys said it was coming, and I think like the very next day after you guys said, hey, be expecting some activity, they got things.
Yeah, it looks a lot
The fencing
better.
was a little bit iffy, but they
Yeah.
had something,
Yeah.
and now the hole's all closed up and all that, so I mean, and now those kids aren't over there playing, 'cause there's nothing to.
Yeah, it's a lot better than it was.
Yes, yes, and, I think it's great to hear you guys stating your ground with this contractor stuff that's going on. If I was living down there at that end of the street, you guys really wouldn't like me. And you wouldn't, and the contractor wouldn't like me because I tell him, you're gonna put a porta pot in my yard, you're gonna pay me for that porta pot being in my yard. Move it across the street. But I think it's great that you guys are holding your ground, on that, I really do. And I think what Joe's proposing, I think is great. We have some gentleman right now that I think has dementia, he's missing. And, you know, that may help something, you know, I don't know, but I think you guys hold your ground, and Joe's suggestion are two great things I've heard out of you guys.
Great.
Really do.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
In light of the delays.
Can we get your, can we get your name and address, please?
Eva Coleman, 112 Lee Court.
Thank you.
Because of the delays on Sawmill Road, is there any talk of doing sidewalks on Tracy Road from Sawmill to 31?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, that's part of the grand scheme of the whole project. And that's, so they will be doing the same process on Tracy Road from Sawmill all the way to 31. So the sidewalk,
When?
as soon as they finish up and make Sawmill Road passable, I told them about a week ago that they were not gonna crack open Tracy Road until Sawmill was done.
That's really concerning, because
Yeah.
that's a really busy road.
Yep.
And what she said about the speed trap on Sawmill Road before construction, I was actually passed going southbound in front of the school. Someone passed me and I was doing 20 miles an hour. So this was well before construction, but it was crazy. I was
Well-
on my horn, that guy just blew on by me and it was in front of us.
I will say the speed limit there is 30. So
Not during the school though.
was it in the school zone?
It was in the school zone, right
My
there in front of
apologies.
Brigham.
My apologies then.
Well,
Okay.
You did drive, I'm sure.
No, I'm just saying, I didn't realize. But that's why that flashing light is there now too, so people will hopefully pay attention.
I would
So,
be very happy to see an officer sit there.
well,
Either way,
and let me address that, because that's a comment my wife would have made. And what people need to understand, because a lot of what I've been reading lately, and I try to stay off Facebook, but you know, a lot of people are like, well, if the police were there, that wouldn't happen.
that's true.
We only have so many.
I understand.
And, you know, I know Joe has started trying to have directed,
We do directed patrols.
Thank you.
We've done that for the last 10 years.
yeah,
And that's where an officer will set in a designated area for 15 minutes. Once in the morning and then once in the evening usually. And we're not the only ones that does the directed patrol. Greenwood does it, Franklin does it. We've done it. Well, I've been here almost 20 years now.
Well, thank you.
And we've done it. But as John says, we can't be every place at every time. And when you got a marked police car sitting there, they dot the i's, cross the t's. As soon as we leave, they do that. And I've been passed there, and they got a ticket.
Well, if I had access to my phone, I would have taken pictures of the license plate.
Yeah. Now, if we have flock cameras, we would get the plate.
yeah.
People tell me the car's registered to.
You're really pushing.
It was a setup.
Very beginning. Yeah. You paid her. You paid her.
You
to
brought
say
in your own witness.
No, honestly,
No,
that would work.
No, and honestly, that is a legitimate concern, you know, because there are kids walking there, and what you're talking about, lack of sidewalks. There's only so much for those kids and people that want to walk there to be. And so, you know, I know these guys will do the very best they can, you know, because that's what it's all about, is keeping people safe, not writing tickets, keeping people safe. So, anything else we can help you with? Okay.
If you have a big problem with that, call me,
Okay.
and we'll make arrangements to get an officer out there at a certain time.
It's been a while back, but it was
Well,
definitely,
hopefully it'll be a
No.
while before it happens again.
You guys got a motorcycle?
Well, it's road construction, right?
Anyone else?
I didn't have much to go on that.
Sedgwick.
Yeah. Being no other business, we are
I have
adjourned.
one more thing.
I'm sorry.
I know you guys can't,
Wait, I didn't get to talk.
I know you guys can't give, information out, I understand the privacy. But my question is, do you guys ever go around and drive and look at some of these neighborhoods and look at some of these properties that have Sawmill Road and a lot of other places, like over by the firehouse, that there's unlicensed cars and junk and junk and junk?
They can have one.
That I've lived there for 5 years, and this one particular house has never changed.
11.
But if they're legal,
I'm sorry.
you know, you talk about vehicles, okay?
Vehicles and trash and just that whole realm of things.
Here's what I'm gonna suggest, okay? Because these are the folks that are taking care of that now. So they just need to be aware. And I will guarantee you, if Joe has an address, he will send somebody by to look at it. But there's only so much that can be done.
And there's only so much they can do. I mean,
Can I just say one thing?
Uh-huh.
I don't wanna call them and go.
no.
That's
They
horrible.
got-
I
they got
don't
too
want
much.
the police to come to my house. That's why I haven't called nobody, on nobody.
Okay, there's a couple things that you can do. One,
That's back.
you can call, you can remain anonymous. Dwayne, what's that thing that you got that they can?
With our GIS, we have a citizen engagement form that can get submitted online, and be sent. It actually, as it stands right now, it gets sent to me, just the way it's set up, and then I forward it on to Joe. We've had a couple instances where somebody's done and you know, I need to ask him so that I can delete it off the system, and when I ask him a week later, he's already addressed it, so I can delete it out of my stuff.
Yeah.
And the second thing is there's a process that we go through. We first go there and we track the whole thing. We draw a case number on it. We give them a written warning, tell them what has to be abated or corrected. We give them 5 days. We go back in 5 days, if it's not abated, we get a ticket. If it's not abated in 5 days after that, we give them a heftier ticket. And at that time, we turn it over to our ordinance bureau, and then they turn it over to Lee Robbins, and then it takes time to get it in court or whatever process he's got to go. So we'll take care of it. You let me know, let me know, and we'll just take care of it. But as we drive around and we see it, we try to abate it, correct it, and then I hate to say this, but there's been a few, not very many, that will go right back to hoarding stuff on their porch or trash in their yard. So we have to start the process all over again, only it's a little different. If we go back within 1 year, and we've already addressed a problem, and they're doing it again, there is no warning, they get the sticker fine, or we'll turn it over. We haven't got to that point yet, but we'll turn it over to Lee, and he takes them to court and things.
I just was curious, because I'm sure you guys make some drive when you see, I'm sure you
We
do.
clean up a lot, but there's basketball games. Every now and then, we'll sneak one back, hold on. Every now and then, they'll sneak one back out on us until we catch it. You know, someone's gonna get there, fine, we try. Okay.
You guys don't try.
I hope that's.
Anyone else?
I hope that's explained.
Yes. Anyone else? Okay.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Quick. I'm with. Well,
Don't
I'm
admit
on
it.
the road.
You're gonna say that out loud.
Sorry, I mean, it is, guys, we know what it is, so.
But we're on 103 and the neighbor there to the north. Because water tables have been changing rapidly. Since I've been there, I've noticed a lot of water standing there. They can't even cut their side yard because of the debt. We even have frogs there now. The situation is, we kind of lightly touched on it about what's going on with the drainage there. And there's been explanation of, well, we've paved the road so many times, it's higher now. There's crushed tile, a drainage tile under the property. And what can you help me with there?
You're looking at me, and I can't really speak for him. I don't know where he has left off on all of that.
Oh, okay.
All I will say is if it's okay if I have Matt reach out to you guys in conversation, and then maybe somebody reach back out to them, since we have their address and all that type of stuff, and go through that.
Yeah. Matt's not here tonight, so.
Because I will say, I do know there has been some conversation with the developer about doing something there. I know there were easements provided and various different things, but I don't know the whole scope of, the whole scope of everything that has been talked about.
Okay. We'll address that with Matt. He's on vacation now, isn't he?
No, he's not on vacation, he just had a family thing
Oh,
that
okay.
he couldn't be here tonight.
Okay. We'll address it with Matt and then stay in contact with you if that's okay.
I just go and mow and go through the mud, and I literally covered in mud because I don't wanna have the mosquitoes and everything else. I
Yeah.
don't mind the frogs, but
I get it.
thank you
Okay.
guys.
We'll get with Matt. Okay. Anyone else? We are adjourned.
This overall, vacation.